Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and I hope you're doing fine. So we have part 3 of the info dump that we got from the Hunger dev. So we go through a lot of screenshots. Now, I hear it already. Oh my god, where's the gameplay trailer? And you know what? This is totally fair, because without seeing actual gameplay and also without playing it, you cannot answer stuff like balance, performance, and other things. However, they made a teaser for the gameplay trailer. I will show you that in a second and also analyze that one. And they made an announcement in their Discord for the 25th of April. So, in a couple of days. And I assume, this is not me leaking stuff, I assume this is gonna be the gameplay trailer. Maybe it's also an early access release date announcement, but a teaser for the gameplay trailer, well, the gameplay trailer should, come quickly after the teaser. And another thing, because a lot of people say, oh my god, Mike is telling me to manage my expectations. Clearly this title is gonna be shit. Yes, I'm gonna cover this in multiple videos because I think it will be garbage. In reality, it just means that a lot of people do not know what early access means and they expect a polished game. Now, with that stuff out of the way, this is what we're going to talk about today. As always, timestamps in the description below if you're interested only in certain topics. We're going to analyze the gameplay teaser trailer. Then afterwards, we're going to talk about food and drink, so all the nourishment for our very hungry people. Then we will talk about how does the looting work in this game. And then afterwards, it's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag, level design, and some art. So this is the roadmap for today, and I hope you will enjoy it. Okay, so now we saw a very short teaser trailer. Let's see what kind of information we can extract from this. Keep in mind a few pictures will be a little bit blurry. It's the best that I could do with this teaser trailer. I think they had motion blur activator or something like that. Okay, so this one right here is a Shambler. They come armored, apparently. We talked about these guys in the latest video with the mutated left arm. They can probably give them weapons. This will be interesting. Will there be different variations? For example, in Hunt, you have different variations for an armored. You have the regular one, and you have one covered in wire applying bleeding. So maybe they do something similar with the enemies in Hunger. Would be cool. And we use this turret rifle. The way you hold it, and with like not really iron sights being available, I would just assume this is a shotgun, but we will see hopefully some gameplay of that gun, because it's a wild one. Next screenshot, and we see not much. We have like this firing mechanism on the right side of the gun, and it blocks a lot of the screen. Now, of course, this is a little bit exaggerated right now because, well, your screen is not like this, right? So you will see a bit more. We're aiming at a bloater, I would say, and I love the background from this shot. So the map borders will have in the background then these mountains, and it's just a nice scenery. It also gives you the feeling that the map is bigger than it actually is, because whenever you play a map and you go to the border and there's just a wall and behind that is nothing, or there's a fence and then behind the fence it's just a plain field, yeah, that kind of kills the vibe, honestly. Next one, we're gonna have some PvP apparently. We have on the left, I would assume that is Marie. On the right, it's hard to tell. That looks like a helmet though, or like a mask. Armored shoulder plate. And there's definitely some stabbing going on there. And we are shooting also this beautiful rifle. I like it now because, well, before we had only screenshots, and now we see that the stuff actually is in the game. Because there's still, for whatever reason, a lot of doubters in the YouTube comment section. And I can't wait to shoot that thing. That must be a huge cartridge that you're shooting. With the side-by-side reload, this is pretty fucking cool. And then in the next one, we're gonna have a look at the regular AI, like the lower tier, and those are gonna be the drags. And honestly, I'm just happy they are not naked the whole time. So that is nice. In the background, we have some kind of fort. There seems to be a Shambler lying on the ground and like behind the drag. Alright, so the mace can do some serious bonking apparently. That will be a brute, and again, once more apologies, I tried to get a screenshot where it's not blurry, but that just didn't exist. Maybe it's better, because that thing looks very, very intimidating. It's also huge, right? I know perspective, and they're standing super far in the front compared to the hut in the back, but no way they're not giants, so that's gonna be crazy. Also probably pretty difficult to hit them in the head when you can't really step up there. So maybe you need some long-range weapons for that. We will see. Next one. Oh yeah, we have here this pistol, and I see some crows. Yeah, we covered that pistol already in the previous videos. So I assume there will be alert traps. There will be crows. I mean, they fit this game. I know, oh my god, this is a Hunt Showdown clone. There are more sound traps that I will show you in a little bit. I like it, crows work, and why not in this game too? Next one. I have no idea what it is. Oh, I know who that is. That's a YouTube comment section asking where gameplay for the thousandth of time after me explaining in literally the first 30 seconds or 60 seconds when it will come. No, I'm just joking. That looks like a mutated drag. And they seem to be fast. And apparently we're smacking them with an overhead swing of maybe a Zweihander? I don't like that. I don't like that at all, because there will be dungeons and they will be crawling around in the dungeons where it's dark, and that will be terrifying as hell. Next one, we have more Shambler. I think we're fighting here is Hugo. He has this armored armor, and we're just taking a swing at the guy. But yeah, that looks actually all pretty damn good. We have another bloater here. Yeah, okay, well, they... I don't know how they will work. I assume they just explode, deal damage. But will they infect you? Will you be covered in goo? Like, for example, in Left 4 Dead, when you were covered in goo, you got attacked by everything. So that's also something that we will have to test. In the next one, we see Gabriel. And this looks a lot like a dungeon entry. Yeah, dungeon entries. I hope. Can you bring a light source? I know there are lamps and stuff like that. Do you need to bring a light source? I know I'm just repeating myself over and over, but I want to have a playtest, please. Next one. This is nighttime setting. And what I like about this, they decided, or apparently it looks like that, so I'm just assuming here, that nighttime is not pitch black. So you always have this full moon, because for nighttime, this is still pretty bright, and you have this burning windmill in the back. Oh yeah, I like that. Next one. Okay, we have another drag, and we covered that weapon in the previous video as well. And then, so first of all, that thing is massive, because there is another dude. I don't know. I think that's Eva, and she's just a little bit scared and doesn't want to look at that. And you know what? Relatable. Relatable. It's huge, probably fast, and might even be tanky with all the weapons sticking in it. Maybe this is a mini-boss that you can kill to get some keys for the dungeons. Yeah. Great. Last one, we have again this... Sadly, this is again out of focus, except the weapon that we're using to block against that brute. But you can see already how tall they are. They're like towering over you and doing this overhead swing. But apparently you can block that. Oh well, maybe the player in this teaser is just trying to block it and gets smashed in the next frame, because we actually don't see that because the trailer ends there. So as always, let me know in the comment section what you think about all of this. We will jump to the next chapter now. We're gonna talk about food and drinks. So as always, I'm gonna show you a little bit of art in the background. Food and drinks. So I asked the devs, will this be like Escape from Tarkov? You know, you are on the map and you're thirsty, you're hungry. If you run out of food and drink, you will eventually die. Lots of survival games are doing that, and I'm not the biggest fan of these survival mechanics in extraction shooters. So in Tarkov, for example, I find it, first of all, goofy, because, well, you're trained PMC, you have probably combat experience, but if you have to stay one day in the woods, you die of thirst. Yeah, okay, I get it. Video games and realism, gameplay balance comes first in all of this, but yeah, not a fan of that. And they confirmed that there will be no hunger and no thirst mechanic in Hunger. Funny enough. So what does it do though in Hunger? So they give you buffs. You have some buffs for a minute or two. So before combat, maybe you take something. So I don't know, you take less bleed damage or less blunt damage, or maybe your stamina regenerates faster. I will actually show you a few objects a little bit later in the user interface chapter. They work like buffs. Some of them, maybe you can even cook them in the chateau, use them before the raid, and then they hold, I don't know, 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Maybe you can just take them during your expedition. And you can see already some of the different tiers for drinking in the background. You can also see that they take real life inspiration. I like this because when we go a little bit further than this, we have like here the food canisters. I don't know if you can find them. I don't know if this is where you store your food that you use then for getting your buffs. Can you maybe take that from players that you kill? I'm not 100% sure of that. But what I like is that the amber bag is basically the big folder where they had all these screenshots in, that they also showed some cooking places. So I assume again this is in the chateau, and you will have professions like cooking to get some meals for buffing you and your friends. That will be nice. Some useful cooking is always great, especially that means that there will be a lot of resources that you can gather then from plants, vegetables, maybe also, I don't know, maybe there are animals that you can hunt. And that is just nice because it means a lot of loot will be meaningful. Okay, enough of that though, let's discuss a little bit the user interface. Okay, user interface, and this is like a big topic in the Hunt Showdown community since August 2024 with the 2.0 release of Hunt Showdown 1896, and they will definitely judge this. Okay, let's have a look. This is your stash inventory, and I like the art style. Clean, neat, not much more to say. What I like is you have there this letter. And read this once in the chateau to add it to your compendium and earn experience. A small handwritten note. So you can apparently loot lore in the map, and when you extract it, it gets added to your lore book, and you also get XP for that. So maybe this is just a one-time thing though, and I mean, it kind of has to be one time because at one point your compendium will be full. You have your currency over there. Lewis is gonna be our stash master. You can see on the right you have the tool belt, and I think this is for food, drink. I see some hammer and tongs, so repair tools, some potions. Yeah, okay. Pretty straightforward, honestly. You see how many slots you have for your armor piece, also for keys, also some badges apparently, and some jewelry. Okay. Apparently we only have a very small backpack though with this one, and a weapon holster, and it says 0 out of 1. Maybe you can get bigger weapon holsters and bring 2 weapons? Who knows? But the screenshot that is exclusive, and I want to show you this right now, is this one here. And I will go with you through everything. So this is a screenshot from a character that is currently in the chateau, and we will go through that. So you have here a Sombre Forest map. This is the very first icon in the top left. Study this while in the chateau to add it to your compendium and earn experience, a dense and detailed scroll. And this is what I think makes this great. This is something that I personally like. It's a little bit more on the hardcore side, or difficult side, let's put it that way. Hardcore is a little bit of a stretch. It's not really an interactive map, so you don't see yourself on the map in Hunger. You get it like in real life. You have your map, and then you see some points of interest, maybe a windmill, maybe a cliff, maybe a big tree, I don't know. And with that information, you need to find out where you are on the map. And you can find pieces of the map. During your expeditions, you bring them home and you expand your map. This is something that I actually like. Okay, what else do we have here though? The next icon is gonna be salpeter. This will be for crafting, but also for quest items. Then you have a baguette, so simple food. I assume it will give you also a small buff. For example, you consume less stamina. I don't know what the fourth one is. The dev said it's gonna be grey ham, the worst food item in the game. Okay, maybe it heals, but it will have a debuff. I'm not sure yet. Then the red bottle there is gonna be jellied apple. And jellied apple is one of these, well, food buffs that you can get. So you eat that, and for 10 minutes, you find 5% more coin. Nothing major, but still flavorful, I would say. Then what else do we have there? We have a moldy baguette. Then I think that icon right there is the absolute beginner bag that you can find. Then afterwards we have like 44 bullets of crude ammo. So that's like your default ammo that you can have. And then with the 3 right next to it, I have to check this. This is a rudimentary ampoule, a mixture you crack open and inhale to invigorate you and heal you a small amount. It's a consumable. Now, I totally did not read that off the notes that I got from the dev. Totally did not. I also asked him, how will this work though when you have lots of loot? Will it be limited by space or by weight? Because you don't see anything about weight in this screenshot. And they said weight will not matter. It will be just by the space that you have in your inventory in your backpack. And because, well, 20 baguettes don't take as much space as a rifle, a few items can be stacked and a few cannot. And with that combination, this is how the inventory system will work. And I like that. Weight system is always maybe a little bit over-engineered in my opinion. For this game, I think it will fit. But again, we need to play it. Then the last one that you can see here with the 4 underneath is cloth armor plates. They repair a single bar of armor of a total of 5 maximum bars if you have the top armor. This is important. And then you check the bottom right, second item from the left. And those are repair tongs. So how does this work with repairing? That was one of my follow-up questions. So you either repair with these armor plates, that's like the in-combat repairs. I don't know how common they are, and yes, lots of people will say, oh my god, Call of Duty armor plate switching. I don't know how fast it will be. And the repairing with the tongue will be very, very slow. So don't expect they're like scritch and you're fully repaired. This will take a long time. And they said this is something for out of combat. If you want in-combat repairs, you need the armor plates. Also keep in mind that the armor plates will take inventory slots, while the repair tongue will not. Okay, and honestly, an expedition will be around 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even longer. So maybe you're already all out of armor plates, because the AI will smack you. Okay, and honestly, the rest from the gear that is displayed here, he describes as like more basic stuff. Now, there is also a blood bag, and I asked him how they will work, and it's like a very slow healing, and you kind of have to use it out of combat. Well, depends on your enemy. If they give you enough time, you can try it mid-combat, obviously. But it's like the cheap, slow healing healing item. There you go. What I like about this is the art of all of this. Might sound a little bit weird, because I talked to them and I asked them, okay, look, this does not look like an asset flip. Are all these icons that you will have in your game self-made? And they said, yes. I think most of them, nearly all of them, are self-made by their own art team or freelancers. And they did a crazy good job. They said flavored or inspired by the Renaissance. And I think they did a really good job with that. So as always, we have to wait and see how the user interface looks like during combat. Because this is something, sometimes games struggle doing a good user interface and you just have a cluttered screen with all the BS that you're absolutely not interested in. So I hope they will do a good job with that. But yeah, now you saw a little bit of the user interface. Let's jump to the next chapter. And before we talk about the best part about an extraction, looter, shooter, hack and slash, is as always, these videos take a while to produce, so if you want to support the channel, a like would be appreciated. I know it's annoying, but we need to please the algorithm, YouTube gods. Okay, looting. I will show you now some concept, okay? For example, we have here this blacksmith chest. I love it. They are again taking something that existed back in the days, recreated that, and that's gonna be your loot chest. It's not just a boring chest. No, for maybe blacksmith materials, you go for this one. Let's check the next one that we have. Okay, we have like the medical chest. I assume you get medical supplies from that one. This is something that is important for me. That this makes sense. When I loot a medical supply container and I get ammo in there, I'm like, odd. And when I open an ammo box and I get medical supplies, I'm like, right? This needs to fit. Otherwise, the whole vibe goes out of the window. Then we have regular loot crates. Those are very small. I like it that I added a picture from Marie showing how big they are. So they can be hidden because this is something that you can definitely put under a table, for example. Again, they put a lot of work into this, a lot of research. And there are bigger ones, and I think the bigger they are, the better the loot is. Some of them might be locked, because this one here says it has like worn light metal for the lock area. I wonder if there will be trades where you can just smash them open, like the wooden ones. Played a little bit of Dark and Darker recently, the Barbarian, or just swinging at the chest and the chest explodes. It's loud, but it's fast. Maybe you can do that in this game too. Here, this looks like a high tier loot location or loot container. Maybe something that you will find in the dungeons. Again, very, very flavorful, and you can see it's big. Maybe they're booby-trapped. I would booby-trap these things. Okay, so you see some of the loot containers. There will be loot lying around in the map. You can loot from enemies, and you can loot from loot containers. So it should have everything. I don't know if you can actually gather materials from plants and stuff like that. Maybe you can. Maybe they will add this in the future. Would be cool, but I don't know if it's in the game right now. Let's talk a little bit about points of interest. Okay, I know. Concept art, but we're also gonna have 1 or 2 screenshots. A nice well that may appear almost everywhere on the ground level, both populated and remote areas, requires 2 people to use. First player turns the handle, while the second player loots the bucket. May have money stash, no jewelry, you know. I like this. You have to be very careful where you place this though. Wells are normally in the open. Makes sense, right? I don't want to hold a button, turn a handle in the open. You make yourself a target. Maybe it's very good loot and you're like, hey, high risk, high reward. How do I do this as a solo? Do I just get cucked here? So I guess we will not get, or I will not get, a lot of loot from the wells. They look like this in-game, by the way. So yeah, this is just their testing area where they have all these things. And the amount of detail is just gorgeous with the weathering effect and everything. Boy, oh dang, a couple of versions of the Dead Postman couriers having pigeon cages with lootable boxes on their backs. Boxes may contain letters, lore, treasure maps, or a bit more advanced interaction. Player opens the cage and sees a pigeon. In 2 seconds the pigeon flies away unless player manages to kill it. Or we could just hold it and then put it back in the cage, but alright, we kill it. If success, pigeon becomes lootable container having all stuff mentioned above. Oh, that's mean. The poor pigeon. Next, an improvised shooting range that can be found at backyards, bogs, or remote forest areas. On the trees, some left ammo can be found, or a simple firearm. Dang, dude, what the fudge? Okay, so this might be a good loot location to find weapons and ammo. Maybe these things are still alive. I mean, you can see the one top left being tied to it. And also his head's kind of tied to the pole. So when you get too close, maybe they make noise, and it's a sound trap combo. So you get ammo, weapons, but you reveal your position. Nice concept. I hope it works that way. Again. A heavy armored wheeled iron box, which can be found at remote roads, box prisons, requires a lockpick ability to open. When opened, there are several options. Empty. Sad. Couple of gold coins on the floor. Nice safe box having rare items, money and jewelry. A dead body of unlucky thief who accidentally locked himself in. How can you... Okay, never mind. You can pick up a lockpick from his body. Oh, nice. Sweet. A brute who attacks player once the door is opened. Boo. Nice humor. Okay, I hope you can hear them. So you don't open it. I like the loot containers that they have inside there. That looks really freaking neat. And how the lock looks like. Oh, look at that. You can see the front part and then the back part. Yep, that's interesting point of interest with cool loot mechanic. Next one is a heavy cannon abandoned in the bog forest basement battlefield, having its barrel plucked, turning it into a container with lootable item inside. Sweet. Now, an absolute must-have. They need to blow up. Let them be booby-trapped, and some of them painted red, okay, and the red ones, they do explode when you open them. Something like that. You open that, you look down the barrel, and the cannon just goes kaboom, and yeah. I think that would be cool. I know, I'm weird, but that would be nice. I hope they have traps like that would make my day. What in the... An abandoned weird music box that can be found on the roads, cemeteries box. A player has to hold button and rotate a handle for 30 seconds. Same issue as before. Please don't be in the open, because this will attract probably AI and players. And 30 seconds in PvP, when you wait for something to open, is a very long time. But this is also something that you can probably easily tune. The dolls on top are dancing, circling around the death. The box is playing monophonic melody, attracting hunger. So hunger is probably the AI, as well as other players. When the melody is almost over, there are several last chords that sound different. The box opens and is empty. Great! The box opens and has rare loot. Okay, the box does burning match sound for 2 or sec... Wait, what? The box does burning match sound for 2 seconds. After that, it explodes, dealing significant damage. Yay. So we can totally do the cannon part, right? If player stops turning the handle, the whole sequence resets. Okay. That is really freaking cool. And that stuff existed. Okay. Well, alright. An abandoned wheeled tank cart next to a dead... Okay, the spelling sometimes is a little bit odd. Next to dead horses, having a sort of Monsieur Paradis Marvelous Liquids. Great French. Logo on its side requires 2 people to collaborate. One keeps the valve open, second uses pump to distill a portion of liquid resource to loot. May contain a number of liquid resources, spirituous oil, flammable components, healing liquids, etc. On the opposite side, it has a ladder which can be used when players using the cart as cover. Also possible to make tank explosive. I was just about to say, oil, flammable components, you want to take that as cover? Again, painted red. If you paint it red, it has to explode. Okay, so we have some points of interest, but there's also level design, and we're gonna talk a few minutes about that. And here you go. I think I showed it already once. This is basically the world of hunger. You can see the chateau on the left, and then you have the black heart in the middle. I assume that's the origin of the plague or whatever we have here, and then it just spread across Europe. I also like that the location is for once Europe and not, you know, fictional. So this is actually a real thing. I love it. So what I'm going to show you now is a little bit of brainstorming how they design their levels. So for example, here we have a fishing camp. Shallow water is where the player is able to walk and loot things, fish traps, bodies, boats, or gather resources, weeds, reed, and fish. Again, I think there will be a lot of loot items in this game, which I like. Especially, and I hope this is true, everything will be useful. Speed of movement is reduced 25%. Sound of footsteps, splashes increased to plus 30%. Areas outside shallow water are inaccessible. Okay, so this is very important for me. I played EVE Online, and again, that was pre-alpha. Okay, like super early playtests. I hate it when there is an invisible wall. Don't do this. No, seriously, no invisible walls. Make it somehow that I cannot reach this, but don't let me bump into a wall and not move forward for whatever reason. That would be bad. Okay, then you can also see the design. They have the fish traps in the water. There will be boats, a pier, nets, dead trees. You can see that there is some planning here, which is necessary. Also, the top part will have a camp, multiple entrances, which is nice. We also have then Some stalls, cards, or trader cards, some tents, I assume. Oh yeah, tents and fish nets. Yeah, if you can read, it's definitely an advantage. And this is then basically the whole camp for the, well, the fisherman camp. So that looks kind of nice. Can you even reach that boat out here? So the blue squares boats, dead trees. Nice. They also gave us a little bit of information. So this is what we can probably expect how the piers will look like. These boats, well, most of them seem to be absolutely wrecked. And dead trees in the water can provide sort of a cover if the player crouches. Also maybe a way to walk on them and pass the fishing netting in the water, working as traps to slow the player or AI down. Maybe you can use this against the brutes, like the super tall ones, and then they get entangled in the net and you can kite them. That would be cool. Fishing nettings are placed under the water surface, being totally or partially concealed, cause entangled debuff, reduce speed of movement by 80%, yet let the player pass through. I mean, from a flavor point of view, this is cool, but these nets, there will be no cover. Or maybe these floating tree thingies there. It means when somebody knows that you're going out there looting some fisher boats or fisher nets, they wait until you touch one of these, 80% movement speed debuff, and then they shoot you. So I hope that also this went into consideration when they create these maps. Can spawn randomly and affecting both living and AI, may be used for achieving tactical advantage in combat. Well, against AI I can see that, so let's see. Okay, some fish traps. Oh my god. See, this is what I like about this. I assume that they make this all themselves. That would be, honestly, very, very impressive. Because why would you go into basically history, right? Look all of this up and then just take assets that already exist. Please no, don't do that. Fishermen were living in their tents close to the water in between tents and boats. Fish traps and drying fish can be found as well as drying nettings. Again, working slowly down traps. Okay. Tents have lootable objects inside, weapons, a couple of fishing harpoons. Woo! Boy, get over here! And then a fishing harpoon to the face. Nice. Well, okay, if you get a fishing harpoon to the face, you're probably dead anyway. Cool. And then what do we have here? Trading area with stores, tents, trading cards, storage, etc. Camp walls broken in some places, giving players extra access into the camp. That's sweet. Points of interest that have only, or camps, one entry and one exit is horrible. I don't know if you played Escape from Tarkov. Like, the very early days, the old customs map. You have so many bottlenecks and people were just sitting in the bushes waiting for you to cross and then farm you. Not fun, so multiple entries, good. Nice. Stores, barrels and baskets are full of rotten stuff, yet some may be lootable to pick some resources, while some wallets or chests can be found. Nice. And then this one in the center of trading area stands St. Andrew, wooden statue, as he was the saint patron of fishermen. Statue may be covered with some blood and or decorated with fish, giving a bit of a pagan taste, and have linked quest line as young girls used to pray to him for a successful marriage. Maybe used as landmark or as a way to get a non-obvious achievement. Ooh! For example, drop 2 fishes into a radius of the statue and get an achievement apostle. Nice, dude. Can be linked with another similar action somewhere else next to Jesus Christ statue, but this time 5 brats dropped and achievement earned as Messiah. Flavorful. Okay, we have a few more level things. I showed these already, but maybe you missed that video a couple months ago, so we will go quickly through that. Nighttime, as you can see, full moon. And yes, that's an extraction in the back. So you will extract with the balloon. So the balloons will not be available at the beginning of the match. There will be multiple and they come down in intervals and you have to go there, enter the balloon, and that's how you leave the map. That is very freaking nice. I love that. It also looks like there is a drag tied to a pole. Maybe that's a sound trap. Please have more sound traps than just crows. I mean, they showed already a couple, so that's nice. Then we're gonna have fog, and then we're gonna have daytime. Woof! Yeah, if you're watching this in your bed, I'm awfully sorry. I just flash bombed you. Beautiful. But I showed these already, so let's go to some other environment screenshots. They are sadly only labeled environment 01, 02, 03, so there's not a lot that I can take from the label itself. But that looks like a camp in the forest. Yeah, I mean, nothing against this level design and how it looks. The question is performance. Just because it looks nice, if it plays like garbage, not good. Okay, then what else do we have? Ooh. And I see a collapsed cart at the bottom. Maybe there's loot. Maybe good loot, because it's risky. They can shoot you maybe from the cliffs. Oh, this looks nice. Yeah, we have again a drag that got hung there. And this looks like castle walls. Courtyard of something. Nice. I like it. What? Oh yeah, I was just watching some marathon gameplay, and probably the thing just that rubbed me the wrong way was how clean and sterile all these maps were. Yes, I know, it's an art choice, but it's just not for me. Again, just because I don't like something doesn't mean it's bad. Always keep that in mind. Next one. My god. Okay, these bushes though. Oh my god. Getting shot from bushes. Different game. Same issue maybe? Let's see. And then we have that one here. Okay, so there will be lots of cover, not a lot of open spaces. You can see on the left, behind the trees, we're gonna have some sort of fort. Fuck yeah. I can't wait to explore this. It's the same with Showdown or any other game. New maps, always exciting. And look at this. Bridge, you can hide below. You have, this is nice, more loot in the boxes. The art style is just, it's just for me. This one right here is actually labeled as mass grave. Mass grave? For what? Loot containers? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see more? I like it though. But again, you're very exposed when you interact with these chests. You probably have to stand there a little bit to open them. Let's see. Then we have a few more screenshots. We are almost at the end of the video, by the way, where the planning comes for the compounds, right? So you have armors and gunpowder, barracks, kitchen, and it will be reflected by the art style then. And just the amount of research that they did for this. And yeah, we will have a screenshot, for example, from the sawmill, because this is just something that we go quickly through. You can pause this and just look at this for yourself, but yeah. Okay, that... I don't think there are any in-game screenshots here. Yeah, and then you have also a prisoner pit. It almost looks like an entry door to a dungeon the way it's displayed here. Okay, next one we're gonna talk about the lumber mill. So you can see here our layout. So there will also be big buildings and not just small ones or tents or whatever. You actually have some proper compounds as well. You have the office, storage room, sewing room, workshop, storage room, and I think they just took like real life counterparts as inspiration. And here you can see at the left, yeah, I know, they're small, but those are in-game screenshots, I would say. Or rendered pictures, at least. Let's put it that way. But again, I think a ton of time went into researching how everything worked. Yeah. Another thing that I would like to check is how the lighting works in this game. This is an issue that I have right now with Showdown, that when you're in a building and you look outside, you're basically blind. And I can see these two windows here, and I'm like, yeah, interesting. Okay, but then, more assets for the camps. Oh, dude, with these bone totems and stuff like that. Oh, this is gonna be gorgeous. I just like exploring. And you have this, again, very flavorful. I know I say this a lot. You have a cross-shaped fire pit. Hell yeah. Hell freaking yeah. Meat hooks on chains. I don't know why there are so many body parts, skulls, chests, spines. Is there cannibalism in this game? Are we eating the drags? Or like the survivors? Yeah, I think the lore of this game, just look at this, will be very gritty and very dark. Jesus, the feeder icon. Wood planks got bloodstain. Oh my. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What in the absolute freaking crude wood carving? I don't know. Dude, this is, it's a mixed feeling. If you manage to brainstorm something like this in your head, I'm in awe, but also I'm a little bit concerned. But yeah, nice job. Love it. Then we have one more layout design for a refugee camp. And I think this is the outside of the castle. So you can fight in the castle, not the chateau. I'm talking about the castle compound on the map. And yeah, let's just go quickly through that. Yeah, see, this is the inside, I assume. And this is gonna be the outside. So you can fight from the outside, then through the wall, inside, and then maybe down to a dungeon or a mini-boss. Okay, yeah, we will not spend too much time on this, because this is really just giving you an insight how their planning is for the compounds. And that's it for today. Again, a long video. I know I just talked too much, but I love this. And I love discussing this. Okay, and with that, let's roll the outro. Well, the 25th of April, hopefully gameplay trailer, not just another announcement. Maybe it's also the announcement for the playtest or early access, because we still don't know when the early access will be. It will be this year, but I want a date, and I want to play it. What you gonna do? Also, big shout out to my patrons. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All the support that you're sending my way. You guys are amazing. Thank you for watching. That's it for now with the hunger content. We're gonna do another video once they give me more material or once the gameplay trailer drops. Because the moment the gameplay trailer drops, this is the next video I'm gonna work on. And I'm super excited for that. I see you in the next one. Until then, have a good day and bye-bye.